How is Notre Dame going to win this football game? That's today's video. We're going to jump on the whiteboard. I got Ohio State's offense here, Notre Dame's defense. I'm going to break down the schematics of what I think Notre Dame's defense is going to have to achieve to beat Ohio State. Before we get into this, please consider subscribing. On this channel, we focus on football schematics. I do film breakdowns, talk obviously X and O's, and we also talk about just more like the high level mindset of the sport. Love to have you here. We got a really cool community already brewing, building a decent subscriber base over the last couple months here, almost to 1,000, which is incredible. I think we just hit 900, which is unbelievable, but let's just jump into it. The way I view this game is, Ryan Day, A coach, Marcus Freeman, A coach. Ohio State has heart, Notre Dame has heart. All right, and that's the reason why I've been choosing these teams. I haven't missed a pick all college football playoff. Literally, I chose Ohio State every game, and I chose Notre Dame every game because they have a lot of the things I like. Smart, intelligent coaching, and players that have heart, and players that have skill. All right, here's the breakdown, though. I think Ohio State is a 4-point favorite in this game. I think they'll win 24-20 or like 27-20. They will win, in my opinion, something like that. So how does Notre Dame stop them? That's today's video. Disclaimer is I'm an Ohio State fan. I want to say that. So there's going to be some bias here just because I'm an Ohio State fan. I'm going to try to take away the bias out like I normally do. But Ohio State's one of my teams. But you Notre Dame fans know that I've been a pretty big Irish fan recently just because I like Marcus Freeman. I like Leonard, the quarterback. I like their heart. I like their intensity. I like how the defense has been playing. And I'm doing this video of how Notre Dame can beat Ohio State because I think it's more interesting content than how Ohio State beats Notre Dame. Bottom line is, Ohio State, in my opinion, can kind of just play their game. Notre Dame's going to have to do some interesting things. They're going to have to show looks that Notre Dame has not seen. I think Notre Dame wins via the run game on offense, getting that going, getting that established, and moving the ball down the field via the run game. Obviously, special teams, which has been giant for Notre Dame. They're going to keep up the kicking game, get some returns. There's going to be some type of momentum shift I think Notre Dame's going to need to win this game on the special team side of it. And also really, really strong defense. Let's break down Ohio State's offense. Here we go. Number one, I'm going to break down the personnel. Okay, Smith, receiver. This is like the freshman phenom that everyone keeps talking about. He plays the X, otherwise known as the number one receiver. All right, then we have Tate, plays the Z, the slot receiver, highly recruited guy, had a really good game against Texas. And then Emeka Egbuka plays the Y, otherwise known as the number 2 receiver, currently in the playoffs. Ohio State's offense now is different than the regular season. They've heightened their focus on what they do best. They have 2 running backs, Howard's the quarterback, and then they got their tight end, G. Scott, who's actually in the pass game as well. In this playoff, Ohio State has been attacking outside in. So essentially there's 3 levels once again: line of scrimmage, linebacker level, safety level. Ohio State wants to start attacking number 3 first, which is a new thing for them over the last few games. They started this against Tennessee, where they really started letting Will Howard, the quarterback for Ohio State, throw the ball deep because they have usually a complete mismatch on the outside between both the receiver Smith and Emeka. All right, so they're attacking the 3rd level, stretching the defense, and then they work back to the 2nd level of the pass game, which is the crossers, and that was their bread and butter during the beginning of the season. And of course, their run game has picked up. Ohio State's run game has gone through an evolution of trying to run outside zone, which is Ryan Day's specialty, is outside zone running. With injuries on the offensive line, that fell apart, and now they run essentially block who's in front of you, and they also run power extremely well, where they bring a lineman from the opposite side of the line of scrimmage over to run a power run concept. And that is Ohio State's base offense. I want to jump back to just one of my previous comments here. When I said Smith is 1, Emeka's 2, Tate is 3, Scott is 4, that is theoretically in depth chart order, but based on route concepts, that all can rotate. Okay, I just wanted to make that mention here real quick before I get 17 comments. When you study the offensive tape against Texas, the number one thing you see in the first half especially is dumb penalties hurt Ohio State. Texas was not even stopping Ohio State in the first half. Ohio State was stopping Ohio State in the first half. But what you see in the second half, Ohio State offense, Texas defense, Texas was dropping everybody. So they were taking away zone 3 and covering zone 2 extremely tight. Right? That made Will Howard's pass game be very much an underneath pass game. And that's exactly what I would do if I was Notre Dame, because it's a psychology test for Will Howard. If you're used to throwing the ball downfield, if you're getting media attention for throwing the ball downfield and you take that away, now you're forcing the quarterback to be very comfortable throwing the ball 5 yards instead of what he wants theoretically is 15. You are making him throw the ball along the line of scrimmage, and that theoretically is more passes that have to be completed. You throw one pass for 20 yards, you got to throw, 4 passes for 5 for 20, basic math, right? Hopefully that's right. I don't know. But you get my point. It forces Ohio State's offense to have to execute more. And the more plays an offense has, theoretically sounds good on paper, but they're also the more reliability Ohio State's offense will have with more plays, especially plays in the pass game. So from a basic schematic standpoint, I'm going to copy that Texas game plan, and I'm going to say we're going to give them the first level as much as they want, but we're going to take away 3, and we're going to take away 4, and we're going to make them play in front of us. We aren't going to make this a track meet like Oregon allowed, like Tennessee allowed. All right? We're going to do what Michigan did, and we're going to do what Texas did, which was keep Ohio State in front of us at all costs. You can take 4 yards all day long, but we're not going to give you 15, and we're not going to give you 20 in the pass game. The second most important key for Notre Dame's defense is their defensive line needs to compete, and they need to theoretically beat Ohio State's offensive line more than Ohio State's offensive line blocks them. They need to be able to get home to the quarterback in the pass game by themselves. They need to be able to stop the run at the line of scrimmage by themselves. If the defensive line for Notre Dame can do that, then they have a really good shot at beating Ohio State. All right, and that's any football game. That's not rocket science, but I'm just about to show you schematically why that's going to be important, because the other players are going to be used to stop the various parts of Ohio State's offense. It's so important when you're game planning for one specific game, like a championship game, is you need to show the offense a defensive look that they'd never seen before that takes one drive for the quarterback to just process the information. Remember, you only get so many drives in these games. You only get the ball so many times. So if you stop one just based on your schematics, that's the start of a good game plan. And then we want that same philosophy to carry over as being able to outcompete the offense. We have a game plan that is a new look for them, and then does that new look get broken easily, or does that new look hold up? And here's potentially a new look I think Notre Dame should use. All right, so Notre Dame's base defense, they play a lot of man. They do play some zone. They blitz here and there. For the most part, their defensive line does what I said, which is get home by themselves, but they do bring a blitzing. Their best player is currently hurt, Mills, in the middle of the defense. That really hurts them. Their second best player, safety, Xavier, I think he plays safety. Sometimes I feel like he plays other positions too, but nonetheless, safety. And so that's kind of the roster. Everyone's tough. Everyone's good. There's no flat out elite player. They don't have a Downs that Ohio State has, but everyone is extremely good football player. They are a tough defense. They fly to the ball. You always see multiple gold helmets around the football. They're intelligent, well coached, prepared. They have everything I like in a defense. Notre Dame's defense does. And here it is. I'm double teaming on the outside for all key plays during this game. I'm not going to do it every single play. Sometimes I'm going to run base defense. Whether it's cover 2 or man-to-man, I'm going to run base defense. But there's a lot of times I'm going to call some special type of defense that Notre Dame normally doesn't run, which is essentially double teaming on the outside. Okay, so these two guys right here, these two guys, cornerback and safety, are going to work together. Safety, cornerback are going to work together on a Mecca, all right? And this is where it gets interesting. Who's going to guard Tate? Who's going to guard the Z receiver? Well, that person's going to guard them by themselves the entire game with no help. So you got to choose, theoretically, in my opinion, you choose your best player and you put him on an island with Tate. And you say, Xavier or whoever you Notre Dame fans feel comfortable with, you say you're going to guard him the entire game by yourself. These two guys are going to double team. These two guys are going to double team Emeka, and we're going to close off the entire passing game from a length standpoint. I want to pause and just talk about these double teams. Essentially, you're never going to let the receiver get above you. So the safety is always going to be above. So let's say the receiver runs in a straight line, safety is going to be above, and then theoretically right on the outside hip on the side to the offensive line, your other cornerback is going to be. So essentially, you have a guy up here and a guy up here. That's what I want the double team to exactly specifically be. All right, there's other variations of a double team that you can run where the corner shoots back and the linebacker shoots out. I don't necessarily think that probably won't work because I just think Smith is too quick on his feet for that linebacker to shoot out. So I really think the double team is going to have to be a cornerback and a safety. All right, so we're doubled there. We're man-to-man versus Tate with a really good defender who doesn't need help and you don't have to worry about on Tate. Now we're starting to kind of get into this mode of now we just have this package to worry about. And once again, we're not running this defense all the time because you probably could get shredded over an entire game, but we're running this at key spots. We're challenging them. We're showing them a different look. Where this game plan can get absolutely shredded is that the defensive linemen cannot get off their blocks. Because if you kind of just look at the numbers, right, we have a linebacker mainly focusing on a receiver. We have two safeties that are going to be outside the numbers, mainly focused on the double teams of the receivers. They're not, like normally you'd have like a safety at least line up, in front of the tackle that can help with the run. And I'm essentially saying in this scenario of calling this type of play, this safety is going to be mainly focused on getting over to help cover a receiver. Meaning his first step isn't going to be towards the line of scrimmage. It could be towards covering ground to get to helping the cornerback out. So once again, this defensive line group is going to have to get off their blocks because we got 8 guys on offense with the run game, and we only got theoretically 6 guys on the Notre Dame defense to immediately help out in the run game. So this is where Ohio State theoretically would be able to make a play call that says to check the run, and they should be able to get yards on Notre Dame because the help isn't going to be there like it normally is on Notre Dame's base defense. But at the same time, as a defense, you got to show them looks. You got to make things confusing. And what we're trying to do is make Will Howard think on the football field. Because thinking, not reacting, is the difference between a quarterback being successful and not. All the best quarterbacks are pre-prepared, they're very good, and they react, and they feel confident, and they throw the ball exactly where it needs to be, XYZ, they check to a run just like it should be. That is efficiency. But when you're having to think on the football field and process information that is new, that's when you start, seeing ghosts and start, the spin zone of your brain. And you saw that a little bit with Will Howard versus Texas when they were doing something very similar and they're all dropping back in coverage. This plan is very specific to Ohio State's offense. And it's just an idea, and I would not run this the entire game, but I'm just saying there needs to be some type of schematics where we're taking out Smith, we're taking out Emeka, we're singling up on Tate straight up with one of our better players at man-to-man defense, and then we will hope and pray that the run game doesn't destroy us. And you run this on a 3rd down, you run this on a 2nd down and 9, you just periodically run this type of offense to suffocate them. Absolutely, you have to suffocate Ohio State's defense. Because if you don't, they're going to be on clockwork. Will Howard is going to catch the ball, he's going to read his first read, then he's going to go to a second read, he's going to deliver the football, and it's going to be just like they practiced. And you cannot be like they practiced. You have to be the opposite of their practice. You have to show them a look that they've never even thought of. It's got to be unique. And it can't have so many negatives, but if you cover the pass game, guess what? You're not going to cover the run game. Right? So that's the one negative here is, your defensive line, you're betting on these guys being better than Ohio State's offensive linemen. But if you can do something like this, then your odds of winning the game increase because you're going to have that one drive where he can't figure it out, and then you're going to have the next few drives where this is holding up. And if it holds up, boom, now we got some winning drives, more time for our offense to, do their thing, special teams, better field position. Now we're moving down the field. But schematics in football is so important. Once again, please consider subscribing. Just getting going here. Beers by the Ivy. Been around for a couple of months doing full breakdowns of schematics. I'll have a few more videos with film later in the week on this game, one of the biggest games in college football history, with the tournament, with it being Notre Dame, with it being Ohio State. Incredible time to be a college football fan. Comment below as well. Once again, we get some badass commenters and guys that really know football, and they'll probably bring some insights. All right, guys, thanks for checking out today's video, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.